Hey, we're back for episode 3 of The Last of Us.
Hey, everybody.
So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Season 2, episode 3.
Yeah. So this episode starts with they're cleaning basically the body of Joel, right?
Yeah, it's the aftermath of the attack on the
Right.
town, and they're basically saying their goodbyes to Joel. You get to see Tommy kind of say goodbye. They showed the close up of the watch that Sarah had given him in the first season, first episode, and then he says, what did he tells him, give Sarah my love or something like that.
Yeah. Is that his daughter?
Yeah, Sarah was the daughter. I thought that was pretty awesome. Like he's going back to, he's going to see his daughter again kind of thing. I thought that was really neat. That's something you don't get to see in the game. I don't remember there being a scene, Tommy getting to kind of say goodbye. And it kind of makes you realize he meant more. Like, it's not just the LA show.
Yeah.
He meant more. He meant something to a lot of people in the town and to the town in general. So, thought that was pretty neat.
So what's the, they were cleaning the body. Is that for infectious reasons, or they were just cleaning the bodies just to prepare them for?
I think they were just kind of
like
cleaning
for burial and stuff.
For burial and that kind of thing. Sending them.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first. I was like, wait, what's going on here? But okay.
Yeah. It kind of a slower episode, which I was expecting.
Yes, there's like no action really at all.
Yeah, after the last episode, I went into it expecting kind of a slow episode, kind of a story-driven kind of episode, and I think it sets up.
Oh, it delivered.
Sets up what's coming. It was a great episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go,
don't need all kind of action.
This episode was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And
for a lot of reasons that we will talk about.
Right. And the biggest one was me complaining that I just didn't feel enough heart. I didn't feel too much, tugging at the heartstrings like I think they thought they were, but I wasn't quite feeling it until this episode.
They hit it this time. Bella Ramsey, this was her best show. One of the few times I felt like, okay, now she's nailing it.
Yeah.
The smart assness kind of helped a lot in this episode. Jumping ahead a little bit when she's talking to the social worker, the therapist.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hare. I can't
remember her name either. Which I'm glad she's back. I knew she'd be back, but I'm glad she's back in the episodes. When she's kind of being a smart ass in the hospital room and like, okay, just get on with it. Let me go. And she calls her out on it. She knows.
She sees right through it. Yeah.
She sees right through it. And then jumping ahead a little bit in the town hall meeting when she's giving her little speech and it's the good of the town and this and that. I'm thinking that's not Ellie.
Right.
Like, and then you find out later on that, that's not Ellie. She's just smart enough to be able to say what she needs to say to try to get what she wants. I thought that was really good.
So,
but the emotional parts too, when she's in the house and
that's what I was getting to. So after she gets released from the hospital, she goes home, and this is where I started to like,
right.
I have onions in here, so who's cutting onions?
Somebody's chopping onions.
I knew what was coming, and as she was walking around the house, seeing the different items, it was starting to hit me. But as soon as she saw the clothes, I knew what was going to happen. I knew she was going to go to the shirts.
Yeah.
And of course she started clutching them and rubbing her face and crying.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like,
probably the best she's been in this series.
Oh yeah.
The most you felt in the series. So
but
far.
that part made you realize how, like, it made you really feel the love. Because before that, she kept saying it.
Right.
But you never really quite saw it, like, to my satisfaction. Doesn't mean that it didn't, but to me, it was like, it just all seems kind of, they were close in the game, so you're just supposed to assume they're close. It's kind of how I was feeling.
And we had talked about that before. The closeness that you felt between them was from the game, not necessarily from the show, and kind of until now.
Yes.
Yeah, she did a great job. She definitely made you feel it. Going through the house, going through his stuff.
And then this is when Dina comes in, the star of the show.
I agree. We talked about it, I think maybe in the first episode.
We talked a little bit how you liked her a lot. Yeah.
She wasn't my favorite in the game, but I'm finding her very likable. They're like yin and yang. She's the calm and the planning to Ellie's like chaos and anger and all that. She counteracts her very, very well. Dina's, she's the reason. The talking sense into her, slow down when she tells her. There's a lot of things that they're doing that it makes a whole lot of sense. Like in the game, there wasn't a town hall. Ellie's gonna go after him. She's not gonna get permission. They kind of begrudgingly like, no, you don't have our permission to go, but here's a horse and some supplies. We know you're gonna go anyway. It makes sense that they would. In the show, it makes sense that they would have a town meeting and have people vote and everything. And the whole time I'm thinking, well, she's got to get going. She's got to catch up. But then Dina says the reason, the logic, we know where they're going.
Right.
Give them a chance to get there. It's going to make them even easier to find. Things like that. The little additions like that are, it's kind of setting the show apart a little bit, differentiating a little bit from the game. And it's like filling in blanks.
Yeah.
It's not just different to be different. They're explaining why, and it makes sense.
Well, once again, things translate different on screen than when you're going to play something. So yeah, I think that they're doing a great job with that. I'm really digging it.
Yeah.
I feel, and I said it in the first 2 episodes, I'm really feeling this season more than the first one.
Yeah.
Which is so ironic that I refuse to play the second game.
Yeah.
And I love the first one.
Yeah.
But I just like what they're doing more in this season. And I think it's because Druckmann is not writing it. I think he has been
after our last
episode, he was kind of the Achilles heel in the first season to me.
Yeah.
Because he was more focused on other things other than making a good story.
Right.
So,
which is something that we talked about last time, that as we get a little further on today, it's something I noticed that's a little bit different.
So anyway, so then here comes the town hall. And what I loved about the town hall was not the Ellie speech was good.
Yeah.
But I love the guy who called them dykes. Seth. I loved him standing up.
Yes.
And saying like,
the last person you would think to defend her. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, she had a look of shock on her face. Like he's agreeing with me.
And it goes to, everyone made good points. No one was wrong. It goes to the point of view thing that I keep talking about through the whole this series, this season, this game, the second game. Everyone's going to have different points of view, and you can't argue.
That's just human society. That's just the way things happen.
Right.
I mean, we see it now.
Yeah.
In a civilized society, and it would be the same thing in an apocalyptic setting where everything fell apart and people are trying to have community again.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to agree 100%. So there's always going to be at least two different sides to an issue.
And what do you do? And
you have to vote.
If things don't go your way, do you decide to take things into your own hands and do what you think is right? Not necessarily wrong, but
because that woman raised a good point when she's like, look, yes, they killed Joel, but we all lost people.
Yeah.
So, but it was a little different because that was infected that killed all those people. It wasn't
right.
It wasn't Abby and her crew. They only killed Joel.
Yeah. And you gotta something got me thinking about Ellie too, how like she's dealing with the loss of Joel. She's also dealing with what happened to the town. And like, that's really the only home that she's ever known.
Right.
She's been kind of transient and never really had any roots. She's finally settled down somewhere and is getting destroyed. And like, that's how strongly she feels about, I got to make this right.
Yeah.
I have to leave these people in their hour in need and go take care of this. But that was kind of an interesting.
But even with her little speech, she wants revenge.
Oh yeah.
It's not about justice.
Oh,
she wants to kill the people responsible for killing Joel.
Well,
period.
Back to the hospital scene where she's in the hospital talking to Catherine O'Hara. When they let her out and she walks away, you can see it change immediately. She goes from smart ass, okay, yeah, I'm fine, I just want to get out of here. And I think there's a shot where as she walks past her, you can see she just changes, and it's on. It's all about revenge and getting them back for what
that was funny. Whenever Dina knocked on the door after the town hall and everything. And I mean, Ellie has an arsenal just laid out. Yeah. She's cleaning all the weapons. She's making sure.
She's ready to go.
And then when Dina comes in, she's like, "Oh, you got some provisions in there? You got some medical supplies?" I mean,
she's all gas.
Yeah, you can't just carry ammunition and guns. I mean, how many are you going to carry? She's like, you can't carry them all. You should only carry this and this. Yeah. And you're correct where they need each other. One has a level head and is thinking about what they need to complete the mission, and the other one is basically like the muscle, like she's just going to go out there and she wants to get the mission done. So
definitely.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Is that kind of how it played out in the game, or is this a lot different? It seems different to me.
They kind of, if I remember correctly, they kind of planned together, and then they kind of got caught that they were going to leave. And then they ended up going anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So Seth didn't help them. Yeah. No. So later on you see Seth, which, if they're watching this, they've seen the episode.
Yeah.
I really loved that he was the one that got them the horse and the tack that they needed.
And she made her smart comment. Ellie made her smart comment, but then they kind of called a truce. They shook hands and off they were. He was the reason they were able to.
I'm so glad they did it, because had they not done this, that was really going to be something that bothered me the whole series.
And that was not part of the game. The only time you saw Seth was when he made the comment at the dance, and then he made them the sandwiches later and tried to make amends.
Yeah.
That's really the only.
And she was still upset, so he just let it be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it was. At the baseball game, the conversation.
So right before the Seth scene is the baseball scene.
Yeah, it's Tommy and talking to the therapist, talking to Catherine there. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, when she's like, "Look, people lie, and then there's liars."
Right.
She's a liar.
Right.
So she was trying to make Tommy understand this ain't about justice. She said what she needed to say to try to get y'all to vote her way.
Right.
But she just wants to kill these people. Yeah. And that's the bottom line.
And they still don't know what happened between Joel and Ellie. They still don't know why they were.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of surprised that they haven't said it yet.
And that scene got me thinking about something when he told her, when Joel told the therapist in the first episode how, like, what did you do? And he said, I saved her. It's almost like he was almost like it was defensive. Like he was almost trying to kind of justify what he did. Like, okay, maybe what I did was wrong in the long run, but I'm still it just felt kind of defensive thinking back to it. So I thought that was kind of
because deep down he knows me back to that maybe humanity could have been saved.
Right.
But I was quote unquote selfish
because
I didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
So he's fighting with the whole.
It was almost like an apology, conundrum. But a justification.
Yeah.
Like a rationalization. It's just some I know that I had taken. I thought that was kind of
almost like how would you react if your child is immune? And I mean, let's think about that. Let's just say your son, you know that he's immune, and their doctors know, and the only way to save humanity is basically to sacrifice your son. Could you do it? Who actually can say yes?
Right. It's like I did wrong, but I saved her.
Right.
Like that's all I did. That's what I did. That was kind of neat.
But does Ellie know yet? I guess that's the big question. Does she know?
I don't want to say. I don't want to. I do feel like.
Well, I guess that's probably what the audience.
We're gonna get some more background. If it's anything like what they did with the game, we're gonna get some background. Joel is gonna come back. There's gonna be flashbacks.
Yeah.
And we'll find out. I think everyone's gonna find out. Like everyone in the show is gonna find out. I think. And I think Tommy's gonna be able to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back on. They are on the trail.
They're on the trail. One of the things that I keep saying about this show, I don't know if it's the colors. It looks like the overgrown areas and the dilapidated buildings and the cities and the cars, the destroyed cars with things growing in them. It's unbelievable how much they made it look
like the game.
The game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the bright colors, the greens, just something about it. It's like they're they shot in the game. I don't know how to.
Well, it looks great, and you have the same package I have of HBO Max, where you don't get the 4K HDR.
Mm-hmm.
You just get the 1080p with the 5.1, and it looks great.
Yes.
So if it was in 4K HDR, all those colors you're talking about would probably look even better. Than what they do. So the way it's shot, it's obvious. I think it's shot digitally because it's very clean. There's no grain or anything. So I'm pretty sure they shot it digitally. Probably with some, very expensive cameras. And I do like the aspect ratio. It takes up the whole screen. It's a 16:9, which is like 185:1 or whatever it is. So I like that because I much prefer that aspect ratio compared to these ultra wide ones.
Right.
I like seeing more this way than this way.
Right.
But it's closer to like IMAX,
Like for the wide, like when they're looking at Seattle towards the end. Like, you want to see all that. You want to take all that in.
But the show really does look great. I was thinking that last night as I was watching it of how good it looks. So I kind of wish I still, HBO didn't decide to screw the people over. And up their prices and change their tiers.
Everything's going up.
But it's everything.
Yeah. I did take a note. One of the things that I thought was great was when she's in the room getting ready, Dina shows up. She's putting her revolver in the back.
Yeah. Oh, shoot your ass.
Shoot your ass off. The throwback from the first season. It's like, man, I know I've heard that before, and I did a Google search, and I was thinking it was from the game, but it was from the first season when Joel told her that, and she said, "Yeah, I've heard that before." I thought that was that kind of made me laugh out loud a little bit. That was funny. We get introduced to the
well, who are those people walking? The ones with the cuts on their face.
So they don't name them in the show. I don't want to spoil anything. They're just another faction. They show up in the game, but it's much later. I mean, at least halfway through the game, they show up, and you find out a little bit of who they are and whatever. I was surprised to see them so early in this. But
so do you think it was the wolves that killed them, or they want you to believe the wolves killed them and it was somebody else?
I think it was the gunshots and everything and the way it was done. I think it was. And it's interesting. Like I was watching, I didn't put this together, but in the post credits thing, they said, they made the parallels, a guy walking with his daughter and trying to teach his daughter and all that. And so that's
yeah.
So we'll find out more about them for sure. They're a big part of the story. Some major characters.
I had no idea who they were. I was like, who are these people?
Yeah. And it's basically just like you got raiders and you have hunters and you have people just trying to survive. And then you have this religious sect that's what keeps them going. It's just kind of a different group, a different aspect of looking at it. It's going to bring that into it. That was I wasn't expecting to see him so soon.
The wolves, they believe in just eliminating people. Like I'm just confused on their mission.
I think they were originally fighting the government. They were originally fighting Fedra.
Because the government was still kind of around, right? They are still around in the small, because that's where Joel and Ellie were 5 years ago.
Right. I think that's all gone.
It's all gone now.
We just have the different pockets of survivors.
So it's basically the last remaining element of some type of government or authority.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the wolves, you find out that there are a lot more of them than
that last shot, I was like, oh snap, they got a whole
got a little army with vehicles and all kind of stuff. You find out a lot in this episode. One thing going back to,
do you visit the grave in the game like she did?
Yeah, there's like a little memorial that she goes to. I think there's a grave that she goes to. It's not 10 miles out of town, which I thought was kind of neat that they added that. It was the coffee beans that she put in his grave. I thought that was kind of,
because it always tastes like dirt or whatever.
Yeah, tastes like burnt doo-doo. That was something that was neat that they did a little bit different. They visited Joel on the way out of town. The night in the tent.
Yeah.
I was telling you the last episode that they didn't do something from the game.
Well, we can say it. There's a sex scene in the game that they cut out.
The game. I thought maybe that was going to happen.
Me too. I was like, oh, here we go.
Just waiting for it. Didn't happen. So, and it's kind of neat that, again, we have no problem with them having that relationship or whatever, but it's like they're letting it kind of percolate. They're letting it grow, and neither one of them is really sure, I guess, but it wasn't thrown in our face.
Maybe it's going to be something kind of like towards the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe so.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
It's obviously brewing because she's talking about she went back to what's his name, the Asian guy.
Yeah.
But he's not really interested. So she's like, is it me? Is it not?
Yeah. And they talk about the night and the dance and all that stuff. So I was expecting more, and they didn't do that. And I think it's being handled very, very well.
Yeah, that's a lot better than just in your face, type stuff.
Or dedicating an entire episode to that. Yeah. Excellent episode. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved it. It's the first out of both seasons so far. It's the first episode that I shed a little tear. Yeah. I hadn't done that. I've maybe gotten a little for a little while, but I remember that being my biggest disappointment in season 1, where I didn't really feel that much emotion towards it. I didn't think that they did a good job in setting up their relationship. It just kind of, I know it was 10 episodes, but it just seemed really fast.
Yeah.
And you're trying to fit a lot of information, and 10 hours may sound like a lot, but it's not when you're trying to adapt a story of this size.
Right. And I mean, this episode for me, what did it was it's the first time I remember feeling like I'm starting to like Ellie.
Yeah.
Like she's getting to be likable. She's getting to be relatable. There's a couple of lines when they found the road, the highway, I guess, with all the abandoned cars,
and they were playing a little trivia game.
They had that. They had the when they were doing the trivia games, which is in the game. That's from the game. When you're walking, they had these little conversations. But they get to the part where all the wrecked cars is the major highway, and Ellie says something about it's quiet, too quiet. I rolled my eyes. I was like, why? Like, she doesn't say those kind of things. And then Dina asked her, like, it was from a movie she had seen. And she's like, yeah, both of them, parts 1 through 4 or whatever. And then it turned from an eye rolling moment to I laughed out loud at that. So things like that, like the writing is excellent, and they're making her a little bit more likable, a little bit more relatable for me.
I like the line at the end where she said, there's going to be a whole lot less of them. And they're like, she's like, you don't have to say, or no, she's like, I'm just trying to sound badass.
Yeah, I was just trying to sound badass. You don't have to try. Yeah, it's just little things like that. They're making her a little bit more.
She's definitely more likable, especially just from the first episode. But I guess they're trying to show her maturity as things are happening, and they're doing pretty well. They're doing good with it.
Yeah, I mean, for her to go and do what she's doing, she's got Dina to kind of counteract her, but she's also got to be prepared and thinking and not just rushing into things. So I think they're showing, like you just said, a little bit more maturity for what she has to go and do. So, and
then right after that, you see the military or the wolves doing their thing, and
Manny's he's on lookout, and you realize it's not going to be as easy, and they're going to have to go through.
They're probably thinking it was more of like a platoon, but it's really more like a company that they got to deal with.
Right. Yeah. A lot more of them than they expect. So I feel like it's getting better. It's only going to get better. We'll see.
I mean, there's only 9 episodes, so there's 6 left.
There's 6 left. We're almost halfway there. Like I said, I went into this one expecting something kind of slow, which is fine. They did a great job, but I think it'll start to pick up.
Yeah.
They're on the hunt now, and they're going to run into some things, and some things are going to happen. And we're going to find out more about that religious sect, their name and what they're all about and all that, and why they're running. I think it's gonna continue to get better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm I'm really excited. I remember about halfway through the last season, I was just kind of going through the motions. I really wasn't into it anymore, but I'm into this one. So
yeah. Looking forward to the next.
Looking forward to every week. Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that'll about do it for episode 3. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.